Hey, I wanted to make a video today on accepting, thoughts, intrusive thoughts in particular, and just kind of sharing what worked for me during the whole process, and up until now as well. I think it's kind of a natural thing for our mind to have intrusive thoughts throughout the day. Um, but it seemed to me, well, from my own experience, being in a sensitized state kind of amplified the the effect of an intrusive thought. It really led me to cling on to certain thoughts that I had in particular. Um, so, for me, what started eventually working, and this is a concept I never truly understood until I was well into my recovery process of, with anxiety and DP in particular. Um, so what I found, and where you start to realize anxiety is kind of a blessing. Not kind of, it is, because you start to see, because your mind gets into this fight or flight and is stuck in that fight or flight, um, state of mind. Every single thought that comes through is analyzed. Every single emotion is analyzed. Everything is analyzed through this fear filter, right? So, what I found with myself is I'd have an intrusive thought, and I would try to quote unquote accept, like, oh man, that's an intrusive thought, and let me redirect my thought process. Let me redirect my attention to something else. And in doing so, like, I did this for 2 years almost, right? This process where I thought I was accepting, but it would keep on coming. Um, you know, that in itself is a form of let's see, of resistance. That's the word I'm looking for. Of resistance, right? Because it comes up, it brings up this feeling inside of you that you don't like. You recognize it, but then you start doing something else, right? So for me, at least, this was a form of resistance. And it wasn't until I just fully leaned into it, fully, completely leaned into it, where the intrusive thought came in. And this is going to sound wild to you guys and to everybody. You let it continue, and even more so, you invite it to do more. Fully see the thought out completely. Just let it go. Don't redirect. Don't get scared. I know this is going to be very difficult in the beginning as you start to practice this, but just fully lean into it. Just fully, oh, okay, here you go. All right, let's see. The main thing that worked for me is that you have to realize that your thoughts are not an indicator of who you are as a person. Matter of fact, I heard a podcast. I think it was with Drew Linslada and another gentleman. He was a expert in intrusive thoughts in particular, where intrusive thoughts by nature are a 180 of who you truly are as a person. If you value children, if you love children, you'll have intrusive thoughts about hurting children or other things, right? If you just everything that you love as a person, the intrusive thoughts are a 180. And this is where a lot of people get stuck, is they start to believe that that's who they are, right? Because you're so attached to your thoughts and my thoughts and just this automatic way of living, right? You just keep on doing things. You just keep on doing things. But try this. And it's going to take a few practices, right? It's going to take a little bit of time because you will get scared as they're coming through. But as your nervous system starts to calm down, as you start to realize, like, hey, I am not my thoughts, right? It's cool to have thoughts. I mean, we have thoughts all the freaking time. But as the intrusive thought kicks in, you lean into it. Just lean into it. All right, entertain it. Entertain it. Oh, okay, let's see what you got going on. Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. Okay, cool. Truly from a curious observer's point of view. This is why I say it's going to take some practice. For me, I was very very thought oriented, right? Everything I thought I did, whatever, that's just who you are, right? It defines you. So there was resistance even to that idea of just like, I'm not my thoughts. What the hell do you mean I'm not my thoughts? We're human. We think we do. We think we do. But this is kind of where the self-development starts happening, and this is where you start looking at things a little bit differently. And so my intrusive thoughts in nature were, they disturbed me quite drastically. So at first, extreme fear, like, oh my God, what is happening to me? What is happening to me? How have I become this kind of person? But the funny thing is that before the, heightened panic and anxiety attacks and prolonged anxiety and DP, I still had these thoughts, but they didn't last very long. They just came in and they left. They came in and they left. So it would kind of catch my attention sometimes. And I think when it catches your attention, it triggers something in your memory bank, right? So it comes back again, right? And so rather than identifying myself with my thoughts, I started looking at what was the situation, right? As soon as your nerves start calming down, you can start looking at this a little more rationally, like, okay, this thought is an after effect of something that's going on, right? And so you start looking at it, it's like, oh shoot, like, okay, I had this going on. Or hey, I just had a discussion with my family. I just spoke to my dad. I just spoke to my mom. But it wouldn't be for a little while later, you start having these thoughts, right? And they come back, you might start feeling down, like, damn, they're back. It's not back. It's something brought it up, right? Now, some of you that are watching this, I don't want you to focus on what exactly is bringing it up, right? It's more so how you respond in the moment to it. And I'm telling you right now, if you fully entertain it, oh, really? Even try to communicate with it, like talk to it, be like, oh, really? And then what else? Oh my God, really? Interesting. Well, let's try it. Let's see it. Let's see it. This sounds crazy. Trust me, this sounds crazy. But what it does is, because those intrusive thoughts are a byproduct of your fear from your fight or flight center, once you start joking and entertaining it and just like, it's the darndest thing, they start going away. Because these thoughts are no longer a fear response. Because your fight or flight center is looking at it like, oh, yeah, this doesn't scare me anymore. Push it off to the side. Now, I think one thing to kind of remember is, maybe I'm going to get a little too deep here, but I don't want to, but a lot of you might be thinking, how can I ever forget that? How can I ever do all this stuff, right? And it's just like, you have to remember that everything that you're experiencing right now is an emotion. It's stirring up these emotions inside that are just horrendous, right? It just feels like you can't go on anymore. But what ends up happening as you start to release that by leaning into it, by entertaining the intrusive thought, it becomes a memory. It no longer triggers the same emotion. And I've watched similar videos when I was in your place, and I didn't quite understand. But all I'm saying is, in the beginning, it's going to be difficult because you're going to have to change some patterns, right? The immediate thought reaction pattern, thought reaction. Whereas just like you have a thought and then you're just like, oh, okay. And you start playing with it a little bit. You never do it. All these intrusive thoughts that I've had, I've never acted on it, nor did I ever feel like, ooh, I gotta go do it. Ooh, I gotta go do it. Never. So just kind of keep that in mind. So anyways, I hope this video helped. I'll try to make more content as time allows and permits. So I hope you all have a great day, and feel free to comment, and I'll try to answer you as I can. Thank you.